Hi everyone, you're very welcome today to our All Discipline Awards webinar. Just going to wait and allow some people to join. So my name is Aoife Drynan and I'm the Communications Officer with the Fulbright Commission in Ireland, and you're very welcome today. I'm presenting an overview on the 2024 to 2025 Fulbright Irish All Discipline Awards, and we're delighted to have you join us today. We're also joined today by Anne-Marie Shear, our Technological University Dublin Fulbright Campus Ambassador and 2021 to 2022 Fulbright awardee, who will be sharing her application tips and all about her Fulbright experience at the end of this webinar. And she'll be well worth hanging on to the end for. And lastly, there will be the opportunity at the end for questions and answers with our Senior Awards Manager, Paula Melvin. So please do submit any questions at all that you have about the awards in the Q&A box below at any point throughout the webinar. So just some quick housekeeping. This webinar will be recorded and uploaded on our YouTube channel later today. And if you have any questions after this webinar, please email awards@fulbright.ie. So, the Fulbright program was set up in 1946, really as a reaction to the Second World War and the atrocities that people had committed on each other because they viewed each other not as people, but as other or different from themselves. Senator Fulbright, who had been an exchange scholar himself, took the view that the best approach to changing people's views, to understanding each other, was to go on exchange programs to other countries. He believed that education and cultural exchange was the best way to lead to mutual understanding and to peace. Ireland joined the programme in 1957 and became the Fulbright Irish Commission in 1991. As you can see, by 2023, there are more than 180 countries in the Fulbright programme worldwide. With 49 Fulbright Commissions across the world, the program has been hugely successful. Fulbright is an education and cultural exchange in both directions between Ireland and the US and the US and Ireland. The program is open to students, scholars, and professionals, depending on the award. So to clarify, students are those who are doing a postgraduate degree at the time, but haven't yet received a PhD. A scholar is an academic who has a PhD, or a professional, an artist, or a teacher. A professional has a minimum of 5 years relevant experience in the area of the award they are applying for. And we are looking for and very much open to applicants from all disciplines. And we will be giving more detail on the All Discipline Awards today. So on a Fulbright, you can engage in research, you can go to study, you can teach or lecture, all in the USA. And for scholars and professionals, you can research and lecture combined. So what does a Fulbright Award provide? Well, there is a monetary grant to help you fund your research or project in the US. There's visa administration for going to the US, and the Commission will support you through the visa process. There's accident and emergency insurance, a significant amount of cultural and professional programming pre-departure and in the US, including networking and meeting your peers and colleagues. Cultural engagement in the US and the memories you make will ensure that you get the most value out of your experience. You'll receive ongoing connection to the Commission, the program in the US and in Ireland, and links to a global network of Fulbright alum that you'll maintain throughout your lifetime. Fulbright stands out from other programs because it's an experience of a lifetime that lasts a lifetime. We have many alumni who remain deeply engaged in the program long after their Fulbright award. We have alumni who went to the States in the 60s that continue to engage with the program. And you'll hear a lot of Fulbrighters talk about the Fulbright family, and that the Fulbright experience is not only related to the work that you do, but much more than that. It's about the engagement with your peers and colleagues in the US and back in Ireland. The award affects your family too, whether you bring your family with you on the award or you return to them after you come home. Your experience affects your academic community and wider society more broadly. And it goes without saying that this is also a prestigious program, and the Fulbright name carries a lot of weight. A lot of worldwide recognition comes with the program. You're joining a program of global peers who will engage with you from the moment you apply. It's a lifelong program, and it will open a lot of doors for you in your career. A Fulbright Award is unique, as it's a full and rounded cultural experience as much as an educational program. It is not only about being based in the lab, library, or lecture hall, but experienced with people out in society. So on screen, you can see lots of nice images of all the different cultural experiences that you can engage in as part of your Fulbright Award. So on to the application process. First of all, you'll need to establish your eligibility for a Fulbright Award. The Irish Awards are open to Irish citizens and EU citizens with a minimum of 5 years residency in the Republic of Ireland. If for any reason you're unable to apply through the Irish Commission, you can apply through one of the many commissions based around the world. Unique to Fulbright is that you need to demonstrate a strong rationale for going to the US. What is the exchange element of what you will bring to the US and what you will bring home from the US institution you will attend? You will need to explain clearly why Fulbright should support you as you carry out your work. There is a 2-year home rule visa requirement, meaning you will need to return physically to Ireland for 2 years after completing your award before you can apply for another visa in the US. This doesn't preclude you from traveling to the US, and you can find out more details about this on our website or the State Department's website if needed. So you cannot be a dual US-Irish citizen, and you cannot be living in the US at the time of your application. And lastly, you cannot have recent extensive experience of studying or living in the US, usually about 5 years prior if you have a lot of extensive experience. And you can get in touch with us if you think there is any reason you may be deemed ineligible. So this is our timeline overview. And as you can see, our applications open at the end of August. So well done to you for engaging with us on this webinar so early in the year, as you now have time to prepare. And we actually find that the most successful applicants engage with us from early on. Once the awards open in August, you'll have a period of 2 months to complete your application. And once you've submitted your application, the deadline has closed. Applications will then go under technical review by experts in your field from November to December. In the new year, should you be successful, you'll be shortlisted for an interview. This is your opportunity to talk about yourself and how you embody the Fulbright ethos. At this point, you'll most likely not be speaking with experts in your field. So this is your opportunity to speak about your work with people who may not be familiar with your field in any way. And so you can talk in a way that your work can be understood. Following a successful interview, offers are typically made in March, once the Foreign Fulbright Scholarship Board have approved and made their recommendations. So we're in April at the moment. So the best actions to take now are to review the information on the website, choose an award, start to think about finding a host institution, plan your project and research proposal, and research what it means to be a Fulbrighter, which is a really important step throughout the application process. What are the Fulbright values and how do you embody these values, both personally and professionally? So later in the year, you can register your interest on our website and we will send you on application guidelines. Then you'll go on to submit your application. You're welcome to get in touch with us at any stage throughout the application process. So on screen are all the categories available for Irish applicants to go to the US on a Fulbright Award. Today I'm discussing the All Discipline Awards that are available to students, scholars, and professionals. The Commission also has Tech Impact sponsored awards with an ICT focus and Irish FLTA Awards to teach Irish in the States. The Fulbright Schumann Awards open in December and are administered by the Belgian Commission. These awards specifically relate to EU relations and policy. So to go more in detail on the Fulbright Irish All Discipline Awards, the All Discipline Awards are exactly that. They're open to applicants from all areas of study, research, and disciplines, from artists to judges to zoologists, economists, lawyers, etc. Everyone can fall into this category. The All Discipline Awards for scholars and professionals are for applicants who must have a PhD or 5 years relevant professional experience. And you must establish an affiliation with a US institution. They're for 3 to 12 months duration. And the maximum you can receive on this award is €35,000. The All Discipline Awards for postgraduate students are for visiting researchers or degree-seeking students. You also must establish affiliation or apply for degree course with a US institution. These are for 4 to 12 months duration. And just to let you know, there's no funding provided for the second year. However, when you're in situ at the university, you can explore other opportunities for additional funding for your second year. And the maximum you can receive with this award is €30,000. So please note that we do have a few sponsored awards that also apply within a broad spectrum of disciplines. These sponsored awards are definitely worth your consideration. They include the Fulbright Enterprise Ireland Award in Innovation and Business, the Fulbright NUI Scholar Award for Early Career Postdoc NUI graduates, and the Fulbright Tech Impact Award for short-term research. You can find full details on these awards on our website. And please note that the awards highlighted in yellow were undersubscribed last year. So we strongly encourage applicants to seek out these award opportunities. So let's discuss application requirements. All applications are made through the online global US Slate system when the awards open in August. You will submit your personal information and upload your CV, your Fulbright statement and personal statement, which is a unique document to the Fulbright program, your project statement, 3 recommenders from your professional network, a copy of your passport, samples of your work if you are an artist, and you can give online access or hard copies of these, and a letter of affiliation for researchers and scholars, which is a letter from the institution in the US stating that they wish to collaborate with you. So if you are still not sure if Fulbright is the right fit for you, we're here to tell you today that we seek applications from people from all walks of life, all different backgrounds, across all different disciplines and locations. Our hope is that Fulbright awardees reflect and represent the diverse society here in Ireland, and that diversity is carried through to the States through exchange by our awardees. The Fulbright program has various groups for people with varying identities. A few examples of these groups are on our screen right now. And to find out more, please do check our website and learn about alumni from Ireland and the US who come from many different backgrounds and have found a home in Fulbright. At this point, I'd also like to emphasize, please do not self-reject. you can only gain through the Fulbright application process. You learn more about yourself, your work, and you create a valuable documenting your personal statement that will stand to you in many applications throughout your career. We've also had many applicants apply more than once or even twice and go on to receive a Fulbright Award. So please do not ever be discouraged. And on the topic of diversity, we do ask that applicants keep an open mind about the host institutions in the US that they are applying to. Do consider host institutions across all parts of the United States. Fulbright is not just an exchange between the big name universities and institutions. It's an opportunity to seek out where groundbreaking work is taking place among experts in your field, in locations that may even be off the beaten track. This is the space where cultural exchange is really needed. And one way to go about identifying your host that we recommend is by talking to a Fulbright alumni, both on the Irish and the US side. Also, do check out the sponsored awards that we've mentioned. Go on their websites to see where their interests lie in the US. Talk to your colleagues and lecturers and get into the details of where there is a need and where your research makes sense to fit. After you've found your host, you will prepare your application. And again, think about the specific rationale for why Fulbright and not another funding body. What is the aspect of cultural exchange that you are going to bring something extra to and take something back with you? The impacts from your work will go beyond your time spent in the lab or the gallery or library, and will go on to impact your professional discipline and your wider community. Now, on to the Fulbright Statement, which is a unique piece of the application process. This is not the place to rehash your project statement or your CV, but this is to hear about you as a person who can embody the Fulbright ethos through your award. Here, you'll talk about both your personal and professional motivations, your interests and hobbies, what you hope to achieve, and again, not just in your research objectives, but also in your objectives as a cultural ambassador. As someone traveling somewhere in the spirit of Senator Fulbright, to learn about another culture and to share your own culture. You can discuss the benefit of what that means to you and the wider community. Once you've submitted your application, it goes to the review stage, and if successful, on to the interview stage. As you can see on screen, at the review stage, all aspects of your application will be reviewed, with a large part weighted on your academic record and project statement. Whereas on the flip side, at the interview stage, this is reversed. Here, we want to hear about your cultural engagement and leadership skills. Here, it's very much about who you are as a person and less about your academic or professional record. So there are lots of resources available to help you with your Fulbright application. Fulbright ambassadors are located at almost every major higher education institution in the country, and they're a hugely valuable resource. We really recommend the Fulbright ambassadors. Their details are on our website, and we do recommend that you reach out to them as well as our alumni. We also have alumni videos and testimonials. We have many online webinars like this here today on our YouTube, which include Q&A sessions. And these are a huge help to applicants, and you can watch these back in your own time. We have Fulbright events and upcoming roadshows. You can also reach out and get support at your own higher education institution. And you can also follow Fulbright affiliate groups. So we'll leave you with these important facts today. 90% of successful awardees have attended a Fulbright Roadshow or webinar. So you are already ahead of the curve by being here today. 50% of those who started but did not complete an application, did not engage with any supports like these webinars or reach out to Fulbright alumni. So do make use of these resources to ensure your success. So there are no downsides in applying for an award. The application process is a worthwhile personal and professional exercise that will stand to you in your career. It is only time well spent. And again, we love to encourage repeat applicants. If you don't make it through an award cycle, we do encourage you to apply again. And yes, you are pushing an open door in the US. The Fulbright name carries weight and will open doors for you in your career. And lastly, you are joining a Fulbright family, an alumni network, a global community, and you'll make lifelong friends. So you can see some next steps on your screen now. Next step would be you would select a host institution, reach out to recommenders, research the Fulbright ethos, talk to a Fulbrighter. This is very important, as we've mentioned earlier. Follow us across our social media platforms. And if you have any further queries, please email awards@fulbright.ie. And just to let you know, the 2024-25 Fulbright Irish Awards will open for applications on the 28th of August this year. So now, to speak with us now, I'm delighted to introduce Fulbright alum and Technological University Dublin Fulbright Campus Ambassador, Anne-Marie Shear. If you'd like to join us, Anne-Marie, you're welcome to turn on your camera and unmute yourself. And it looks like Anne-Marie is not online with us yet, so she should be here in a few minutes. And in the meantime, we invite you to put your questions in the Q&A box below, and Paula Melvin, Senior Awards Manager at the Fulbright Commission, and myself will endeavour to answer your questions if you want to join us.
I basically only see, hi Aoife, I basically only see one question that says, what's the success rate last year for scholars? And then a very similar question, what's the success rate for academic visits? We don't release the stats, but they can be very, very, very misleading, purely because, say, one year more people may apply for a certain award than the following year. And additionally, if you apply for one specific sponsor award, perhaps you're the only person applying for that award that year. The following year, we may have 10 times that amount. Additionally, it varies greatly. So all disciplines is obviously the most common award to apply for. It's the one that's open to absolutely everyone. And that's the reason why we would urge you to have a look at our website and look and see, is there a sponsored award that would suit you and your research? Because you know your research better than any of us in the Fulbright team know. And like I said, it varies greatly year to year.
Great. So are host institutions only universities?
So you can go to non-universities. You can go to, say, a research center or a hospital, but please just touch base with myself or the awards officer for scholars, or just email awards@fulbright.ie just to double check that where you're going is fine. But yes, we've had people go from different to different non-university places for their Fulbright. Someone else is asking, how many scholars do we fund? Again, it varies from year to year. Unfortunately, it's brilliant that we get so many fantastic applicants, but unfortunately we have limited resources, so we cannot fund as many people as we'd like. But the numbers we fund actually vary quite greatly, because for a scholar may only be going for 3 months. If a couple of top scoring scholars are all only going for 3 months, we can fund more people, whereas it's a top scoring scholars are actually going for 12 months, will fund less people, and we fund based on who comes in what position. So it's not like, oh, we're more likely to fund you if you're only going for 3 months. Someone's asking, is there any additional visa requirements for bringing family? For example, spouses already a US citizen, but children are not. Well, then in that case, if you were successful and awarded a Fulbright, you could bring your children with you as dependents, and your spouse doesn't have to get a visa, obviously, because he or she is already a US citizen. It is interesting now, a lot of scholars do bring their families, and we do assist them in the process of getting visas. But sometimes if your family is only going for a short period, say you're going for 12 months, spouse and your children are only joining you for part of that, well then in that case, they may be better off just going on ESTAs for a short period. If you're seeking a student award, do you need to be in the first year of your PhD, or is it okay if you're in your second or third year? That's fine to be in your second or third year. I'm gonna pass over to Aoife. I don't know if she wants to answer more questions or introduce.
Thanks so much, Paula. We might finish up with a question and answer session at the end of the webinar. I believe we have Anne-Marie Shear online with us now, and so I'm delighted to introduce again Fulbright alum and Technological University Dublin Fulbright Campus Ambassador Anne-Marie Shear. If you'd like to join us, and you can turn on your camera and unmute yourself.
Hi,
Anne-Marie. We're delighted to have you with us today, and I will let you take it away, and I'll share your slides and I can change whenever you're ready.
Perfect. Thanks a million, Aoife. I can be seen and heard, yeah.
Perfect.
Great. Okay, so you're going to move my slides on, are you?
Yeah. Yes.
Hi, everyone, and thanks again for having me along here today. It's lovely to be part of it, because I feel, I suppose, I got so much out of this experience myself that it's really, really nice to share that and to encourage people to get involved. So as Aoife said, I'm Anne-Marie, and I went to UMass Amherst for my Fulbright, and it's called the Road Adoption Research Program. Was what I joined, I suppose, as part of my Fulbright, and that's based in UMass Amherst. And I was working on my own research, which focuses on contact with birth, family, and adoption. And I had the opportunity to be mentored by Professor Hal Grotevant, who is really, really well known and respected in the area of adoption research, and who, I really would never have sort of dreamt I would have ended up sort of working so closely alongside and getting, to know on such a personal level. I'd been sort of reading and referencing his work for years before the Fulbright. But really, Fulbright gave me that opportunity, I suppose, to be really immersed in and connected with just kind of such an internationally renowned research group. And it provided a platform for me, as part of the Road Adoption Research Program, to present my research. At one point, I had a seminar while I was there, and there were over kind of 100 really well-known adoption scholars who would be part of the Road Network, who would come to hear my presentation. And I mean, as an adoption researcher based in Ireland, it's a niche area. I just would never have kind of gathered that interest if I had sort of set up a webinar to present my research in any other context. So, it really did kind of platform my research in a way that just wouldn't have happened without that kind of Fulbright opportunity. But I suppose the main thing really was kind of that value and of the kind of human relationship and connections that I made while I was there. And the academic piece was really, really great. And this is the ROD group here. So that's the research group that I was a part of while I was there. And I suppose what I took very, very seriously while I was on my Fulbright was that mission of collaboration, understanding, engagement, and particularly kind of cultural immersion. So I was very determined to get stuck in with that. There's Hal and his wife, there, and they're wearing the Ireland jumpers that I brought them from Ireland. But a key part of, I suppose, my own cultural immersion was as a result of the homestay I stayed in. So that's the next slide there, Aoife. And that was with Bob and Jan. So Bob and Jan were an American couple, and they were equally committed to my cultural immersion. And they were, maybe a bit too much at times, but they were great. And they had lived really extraordinary lives. They had been very involved in the civil rights movement, the labor movement, in peace talks, and they were a Jewish couple. They'd also been foster parents. So we had so much to share, and I had so much to learn from them. And I suppose they included me in all of their Jewish cultural celebrations, and also the more American, I suppose, cultural celebrations like Thanksgiving there, which I really, really enjoyed. And, a key part of that for me was sharing food with them and them teaching me about the different Jewish food traditions. And I think a low point for them, I think, was when I treated them to an Irish sherry trifle at Christmas, which probably doesn't translate quite so well. I suppose aside from my homestay and the university, I was really keen to get to know, I suppose, real life Americans outside of the university and get a sense of the real life in Massachusetts. So it was during COVID as well. So I decided to join a hiking group on Meetup. So I kind of focused my attention sort of on outdoor social activities. And this was a really, really great way for me to get to know people. I met a totally different group of people through this, with nothing to do with kind of the academic world, had nothing to do with UMass, and were living their lives in the US. And it really provided great opportunities while we were in the outdoors. We were hiking, we were traveling to different hikes to get to know each other, to share stories, to share cultures, and they all knew all about Ireland. And Fulbright by the end of it, and they were so generous with their time and their inclusion of me in their group, and really went out of their way to make sure that I saw all the important hiking routes in the area, and would really specifically kind of choose hikes to that they felt would be good for me to see before I went home. And I suppose another highlight of the Fulbright, the real highlight of the Fulbright for me probably was a trip I went on to Yellowstone, and we kind of coined this the Indian-Irish Yellowstone adventure. So I think it's the next slide, maybe there, Aoife.
Sorry.
Another one on maybe. So this was, if any of you ever had the opportunity to go to Yellowstone, it was absolutely amazing. I think, Paula, you have been there, but it was this was really random. I made contact with, I met an Indian Fulbrighter in UMass. We literally had just met, and she told me she was looking for somebody to go to Yellowstone with her, and I was delighted with this opportunity. She had another friend another Indian Fulbright, she didn't really know her either, who she got in touch with. And then I got in touch with Holly, who was an Irish Fulbrighter, who I didn't know it at the time, but was a wolf expert. So it was the perfect combination. We had 5 days on the road together. We had Holly, our wolf expert, with us. And Yellowstone is famous for its wolves. But I suppose what was really fantastic really was just the kind of bonding, the sharing, the learning so much about each other, and just the opportunity to share those cultures and experiences. And I suppose as a result of that, I can move on there. Yeah, thanks, Lisa. As a result of that, we celebrated Diwali afterwards with an Indian group. I knew nothing about Diwali before I went, so it was really, really just beneficial in that way as well. This picture here actually is the Fulbright cohort that was in UMass at the time, or some of us anyway. And as you can see, or maybe you can't see, but I suppose we were from as many countries and places as the number that we were. And there was so much learning in that group as well for me, and so much cultural sharing. So I suppose, I did work on my academic piece while I was there too, but I feel like really a lot of the learning and sharing that I did was as a result of the those kind of other opportunities to get involved in that sort of cultural immersion. That slide there is just a slide from UMass when I did my seminar. So Aoife, you'd asked me to talk a little bit as well, I suppose, about the application and my tips for the application. And I think for me, I would say don't be afraid to use your personality when you're, I suppose, applying and when you're on the Fulbright. And for me, that was not being afraid to share sort of my love of the outdoors and to bring that into both my application. And when it came to being on Fulbright, you know, I had thought about how I could immerse myself in the culture, what I could share. And for me, that my interest was around the outdoors and the love of the outdoors. And that was that was sort of my in, I suppose, to sharing with people. And it was also what I spoke about in my interview at the interview stage. And I think the other piece, I suppose, was around how I kind of got in touch with my host, Hal. So I had been at a conference with Hal, that Hal was at, and I approached him and I asked him if he would be interested in hosting me. And I mean, he didn't know me at all, really, but he was so open and enthusiastic. And I have to say, like, that is really what I found about my experience with really everyone I met along the Fulbright experience. People were so open and sharing and enthusiastic. And Hal, Professor Grodement, was fantastic. He was amazing with the letter of support. And because it was COVID, there was a lot of toing and froing, and we had to make lots of changes. And he was so flexible, you know, so committed to having me there, so open to having me there. So I would say just approach someone if there is somebody. I mean, I didn't know this at the time, and I mean, I kind of had an opportunity to approach him, and I did, but kind of having been there now, I feel if there's somebody you're interested in approaching, just do it. Like, I think that I wasn't as aware maybe of the Fulbright brand here in Ireland as they are in America. I think like that people in the US are really interested in getting involved in it, are really interested in supporting it. And yeah, I mean, Hal said yes straight away and was very actively supportive of it, you know, and really, really helped me with that. And the other thing I think, Aoife, you'd asked me to just mention was how it has impacted my career since. And I think it really has. You know, I mentioned that sort of broad platform that I had to share my research. I've also hosted a visiting scholar here since I've come back. I came back in February and she arrived, I think, within a month or so, and she was here for all of last semester from Montreal, but I met her through Fulbright and through the Rudd adoption program. I've been asked to speak. I feel it just has profile my research a bit more. I've been asked to speak to the Adoption Authority of Ireland. I've been asked to speak at a number of kind of Irish events about my research, and I feel like that the Fulbright really helped people to maybe hear about that research in that way. So yeah, I think that's it, but I'm here for questions or if anyone wants to ask me anything.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. You've given us such a great presentation and tips and lots of insight, I think, on the fantastic Fulbright experience overall that you had. So thank you so much. If you'd like to stay on for our Q&A, that would be fantastic. Thanks,
Aoife. Could I just say something else as well, Aoife, just in terms of the application process? I suppose I was lucky enough that I think it was the Geography Society in Trinity had run a Fulbright info event, and I also went to the event equivalent to this at the time, and I found that really, really helpful in terms of the application. And you know, again, even here, anyone I met that I asked questions that I made contact with was so helpful. I also contacted the campus ambassador here at the time. So you know, please reach out to me or to whoever, but you know, more than happy to help out, and I think people generally are.
That's fantastic. Again, thank you for reiterating that. So for any of our viewers or applicants, do reach out. You know, we have campus ambassadors in almost every HEI around the country. And speaking with a Fulbrighter, you'll get more tips and more help than possibly like all of your online research. So do reach out. These are fantastic resources. They're there for you. They're there to help you. You can get in touch with the Commission, and I have an amazing team at Fulbright. You can ask any of us any of your questions as well. So we might, again, I might ask Paula Melvin, our Senior Awards Manager, to join myself and Anne-Marie just to finish up now with any Q&As that you have. If you have any more questions, now's your chance, and pop them in the Q&A box below. We have one anonymous, I may visit a US university for 1 month to start off the research project. This university is also the potential Fulbright host university. Will this visit be a problem for the application? I don't believe it will. I'm going to hand that one over to Paul. I believe you've more experience with this, but I don't think that that's a problem.
No, you're dead right, Aoife, that shouldn't be a problem. Occasionally we have people who undertake a Fulbright Student or Scholar Award in more than one university. It's fine as long as you have, sorry, I know this person says this is the same institution, but no, it's fine. Like that is grand. Even if the person said they want to do a month in one institution and then move on to another institution, that is fine. And then additionally, there's another one about the Fulbright Specialist Program, which is on the flip side. So that is for Americans coming to Ireland. So if you'd like to email awards@fulbright.ie, just because that is a Scholar US award, whereas today we just want to focus on kind of the Irish awards. And then there's a question as well about how many times can you apply for a Fulbright award if you're unsuccessful. It's very common for people to apply multiple times before they're successful. So we encourage you to apply and apply again. So that's all the questions for the meantime. So if anyone else wants to pop in a question for Anne-Marie, Aoife, or I, that'd be great.
We have someone who said many thanks. So again, many thanks to Anne-Marie and also to Paula Melvin, and thanks to all our viewers as well for joining us today. I think there's one more question, just wondering about the Culture Ireland Award.
You might mean the Creative Ireland Awards. So we have 3 student awards for people who are in kind of the artist museum space to go to 3 of the best institutions in the world, in my opinion: the Harry Ransom Centre, the Smithsonian, or the Harry Ransom, the Smithsonian, and I'm forgetting the third one. Yes, Exploratorium, and I've been there. Yeah, so there are your 3 options to go for 3 months as a student, which is unusual for a student award, or alternatively for the Scholar Award, you can go anywhere in the States for those. So you can see more information on our website, but if you're kind of in that museum space, definitely that's your best place. And we did do a few specific webinars on the Creative Ireland. So yeah, I definitely advise any of you to apply for a sponsored award if you can. I know this is the all disciplines, but at the same time, if you apply for a specialist, kind of a sponsored award, and you're unsuccessful, you'll then be considered for an all disciplines anyway.
Fantastic. If we have no further questions, I'd like to say huge thanks to Anne-Marie Shearer for being here with us today. She's in the middle of interviews at the moment, so we're very lucky to have her. And she's also a fantastic Fulbright Campus Ambassador at TU Dublin. If we have anyone online, she's an amazing resource. Please do get in touch if you're considering applying for the awards. She's a fantastic resource. And also my colleague Paula Melvin, Senior Awards Manager, thank you so much for joining us today. The Fulbright Irish Awards open for applications on the 28th of August this year. It's perfect that you're online today, earlier in the year. It's really great that you're engaging this early on. If you have any questions, further questions for us, please email awards@fulbright.ie. And thank you so much to everyone for joining us today. And we'll say goodbye for now. Thanks, everyone. Bye.